Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's right. We're back. It's Billy. It's Aaron. It's Carry the G Radio, the podcast. Billy, how the hell are you? I haven't talked to you in a while.
I'm doing good, man. I hope the Bayou treated you well. It always
Oh,
does. It's
so well.
always too much fun. So,
Good
listen, and the
times.
best thing is now we get to wish everybody a happy schedule leak week because
Let's
for the
go.
next couple of days, we're just praying for Peter Schrager to be right.
We need leaks. We need times. We need dates. We need opponents. Wait, we've got opponents. That's the fun part. We already
Yep.
know who the Packers are playing in 2024. We just don't know when and where. However, we do know week one down in Brazil on a Friday night. The Packers will be facing off against the Eagles. Let's start there. Let's start with week two, shall we? I want to talk to you about your wishes, your desires, what you're hoping to see when this schedule gets either leaked or released on Wednesday. We'll probably obviously know the full schedule at some point. Wednesday morning would be my guess. My money's on Matt Schneidman once again, just
Sure. Yep.
tweeting it out, one fell swoop, having it all out there. I will say, I do kind of miss the day of unveiling. It used to be Kyle Kuzno giving you out a couple breadcrumbs throughout the day of home dates, and you kind of pieced together not anymore. Not with Matt Schneidman in town. Schneidman's just like, let's get this over with. Boom.
Yeah, Schneids is like, I got the plumber coming to fix that second bathroom in my new house that I got to fix. So, but I loved Kyle's game though, because he'd be dropping it all day long.
Yep.
He'd be locked in. And then every single year, somebody would be like, oh, who the hell is this guy Kyle is putting in? I'm like, well, my man's gotten it right like every
Never
year
been
for the
wrong.
last 5 years. So no one's going to question him. Instead, now we have to wait for, somebody to make a new Twitter profile of schedule leaks 2024. But I love the fact that we can even mock this and genuinely come in and try to outline them. It shows the power of the NFL. And like
we're talking about it.
I still remember, and Nags, I still remember because I was the pear-shaped youth that had a sick, twisted love affair with the NFL, right?
Naturally.
So, like, I'm in Florida on my spring break one time. I remember vividly, like 7th grade, and we had to drive to a Best Western to go and let me print out the schedule so we knew the second and 5th home games. Because those were big
get those
days.
gold package games.
Those are big days in the gold package house. But, yeah, there's no way in hell anybody on Park Avenue thought, hey, dude, I think the schedule release is going to become one of the biggest events of our calendar year. But
some kind of tentpole.
Put NFL on the name of anything and people get fired up for it.
Well, it's just we used to know the schedule going into the draft. Think about that. Now they have completely stretched everything out, not only moving the draft back, but also trying to stretch it out. Like, then we've got another piece of content that we can roll out a couple weeks after the draft. Just elongate that calendar a little bit more. That's their whole game. And, we're all suckers for it. So here we are contributing to it, Billy, because I'm going to ask you, week 2, after the Packers get back, obviously a little bit of a break there because they got the Friday night, so they got a little extra time. You think the Packers are at home in week 2? I mean, they have to be, right? Don't they? Doesn't the NFL owe it to the Packers going down to Brazil week 1 to put them in Lambeau in week 2?
I kind of think so. Also, just because of the 9 opponents at home, right? Like, I don't know that they're going to go 9 in 15 games because shit, you want to talk about competitive disadvantage. Let's go. Give us that
I'm
many
all for it.
Backloaded home games I'll be a big fan of. But I always, and this was copy and paste, I always want the Packers to open at home against the Bears. So that's genuinely.
See, I feel like the sentiment around that has kind of like gotten to the point where because the Packers have just beaten up on the Bears again and again and again, especially the national perception of, oh God, here they go in prime time again. I know we're not talking prime time, but at home again, opening against the Bears. It's like, haven't we seen this movie enough? Like, we're 10-0 in the last 10 games. Like, you're still on that tip, really?
Yeah, I like to assert dominance as early as possible.
Okay.
And
I get it.
Mainly just because I want Caleb Williams' first action against the Packers to be at home. Like Love's first welcome to the rivalry last year was at Soldier Field. So week 2 should be Bears-Packers. If one of those 14 Twitter sites that I'm following, apparently it won't be, because I think I saw that somebody thinks that that's going to be the Black Friday game, which would be fun.
That'd
be
fun.
I think
for that.
I think you're looking at that game, especially if it's the first one of Caleb playing in the rivalry. That thing's going to be Sunday Night Football, or it's going to be the Fox 325 or some kind of
it'll be
primetime
featured
game.
somehow, I would think. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, let's say this. Let me ask you this. Take away division opponents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no Bears, no Lions, no Vikings. We've got 6 other teams that could potentially open in Lambeau. Or for the home opener for Green Bay? Would it be the Cardinals, the Texans, the Colts, the Dolphins, Saints, or 49ers?
I like Cardinals.
Really?
As potentially that one. Because otherwise that feels like a buried week 15 kind of thing.
Right.
So
that's what I'm guessing for the Cardinal game. Definitely.
Yeah, then it gets buried in December, but I'd prefer that to be Miami comes here in December.
I hear that.
Trying to ration that out.
Yep, I get it.
Colts could be very interesting. Right?
I mean, especially with the young quarterback coming back. They got an exciting young kind of nucleus there in that team, although they always seem to be doing that. But yeah, I could see that. Although,
and I don't think they'll start with the Saints as the home opener for the second straight year.
Yeah, I don't either. I tell you what, the 49ers would be spicy. That would be fun. That would be a good time. Have a week 2 game. And I wouldn't put it past the NFL to put the Packers in prime time again in week 2. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
You got them on Friday night, and then boom, here we go, week 2, Lambeau Field, Sunday Night Football. Let's go.
Well, and I might, again, this is where I'm going to be jaded, because after hearing Peter Schrager say that Niners-Packers could be Sunday Night Football, or, pardon me, Wednesday Night Football.
Oh, Lord.
On Christmas Day at
I don't want another Christmas game.
I want it. I
want
that one so bad.
No. See, we're back. We've reset. Remember last year how I was like, I don't want the Packers ruining any of my holidays, and then they won on all the holidays.
And it worked.
I was really excited.
Let's go.
I'm back. I'm fully back to I don't want to ruin any of my holidays, man.
Come on, Nags.
No, I wake up on Christmas morning. I want to just relax. I don't want to have to work, and B, I don't want the Packers to get me all stressed out. Know how it is on game day.
Oh, but that's the best part. It's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Day night. So all the stressful parts are done.
So I know they're not. I've got all day to worry about the game. Are you crazy?
Yeah. Oh,
that's not Christmas.
You take a beautiful nap right around 2:30 because you fill up on a bunch of waffles at breakfast and maybe some French toast. I don't know what your swag is.
That's good.
And then you know that there's a ham coming out at 4.
Breakfast at the diner. I get it.
Yeah, and then you got to be able to rest and rejuvenate and be ready to roll and celebrate with everybody on the Cheesehead watch party at 7 o'clock. Yeah. And that's the better time, because then, Aunt Sue's left, Marge is gone. Yeah. Then you can really soak in the enjoyment.
See, you're talking about logistics here, which is fine. I get it. But I'm just talking about anxiety. I'm talking about how, that pit deep within your stomach that gets twisted in knots as you're waiting for the game to start, especially against the 49ers, who have had the Packers number the last couple of times they've played each other. I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me. I don't want that on Christmas. I can't. No, not Christmas Day. Although I will say it will be sweet when the Packers win that game.
That's what I'm saying.
Celebrating Christmas. That is pretty amazing. That's a great feeling.
And I'm 100% with you. I mean, if the media starts with me thing is going to be the only deal, I wouldn't love driving up potentially all day and missing most of that. Yep. However, it's now just become a large portion of the calendar. So used to it.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, what are we thinking as far as, let's go back to the divisional opponents, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're looking at, obviously, the home and away for each. We got a quick hit of both the Bears and Lions early in the season last year. How do you think that plays out? Do you suspect they probably continue down that route? Like, it seems in the last 3 or 4 years, it's always been bunch of divisional early in the schedule and then a bunch of division late in the schedule.
Yeah, I think they like that dynamic of it. I definitely like, what was it, 3 in the last 5 weeks?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that for the last portion of this calendar. I love that part of it because they feel like the most impactful games, especially in a division where I think 3 teams are going to fight for the playoffs.
That's the thing, right?
Right. I mean, so I struggle to think that they cut that off at the neck. They might, a couple of teams could be done with the Vikings after the 3rd week of November when they'll most likely be done. But
potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. But that's where I love the backloaded portion of it. And I already put out my bias of Packers Bears potentially starting out the season every year. Mm-hmm. And I want that one early because, again, I want to establish dominance while Caleb Williams walks into the division, walks into the rivalry, and still holds a fat L.
And just get to shut the Bears fans up right away. You know what I mean? Like, don't let them sit there with hope throughout the first month of the season or whatever.
Right away. Finish it right away.
Yep. They come out like I remember when they opened their season. Was it 2-3 years ago with Fields where they opened in the monsoon against the 49ers and they somehow miraculously won that game, right? And the Bears fans took that like, oh, look at us, we've arrived. And then they proceeded to get their ass kicked for the rest of the year. It's like I just don't give them hope. Like crush it right away, right out the gate.
And congratulations, you won one of 4 Trey Lance starts in his career. So like that's where those are moments where you.
Those are the Bears fans' trophies. No doubt about it. But let's look at the away teams, the games outside of the division that they're going to be facing on the road. We've got we got the Jaguars, we got the Rams. Finally, I think the Rams are probably saying finally getting the Packers heading out west. I mean, it's been like nothing but Rams in Lambeau for the last X number of years. There were the Eagles, but that's obviously a neutral site game down there in Brazil. And then traveling west to the Seahawks and then down facing the Titans in Tennessee. Where do you want those to fall? Because for me, man, I want Seahawks early. I want nothing to do with this new kind of look Seahawks team after they've had the season, so to speak, to kind of get shit together, right? Like new coaching staff, new era, might still be kind of searching through things. You look at those away teams, where do you want those to fall? I mean, there's not a game there that I'm like overly concerned about as far as narrative or drama or what have you, but each of those teams presents a unique challenge. No doubt.
Yeah, I want Nashville within the first 6 weeks of the season because I want to be able to celebrate on Broadway, wear shorts in Nashville, and enjoy somewhat nice temperature at that point before it gets cold, and then you kind of lose the excitement of Nashville. I want to be able to go to a honky tonk, Nags, and have a T-shirt and jeans on, right?
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, that's just a natural state of being of desiring that, right?
And from the football standpoint, I'm not all that worried about the Titans being, a 7-win outfit this year. Sure. However, I like Will Levis. I think he's good. I think they can bring in an offensive coach, and you would get enough scouted looks on them where you wouldn't be, kind of fishing blind without what they're going to be doing. However, I don't think you let him get into a great groove starting the season. So I like that one early first third of the calendar.
Yep, I hear that.
I'm with you on the Seahawks because that defense is going to be nice. And I think the longer the season
more games they play, the more bank reps they get, the more they gel.
Yep.
Witherspoon and company, no thank you.
And that will be Monday Night Football.
You're probably right.
Yep, that will
just
be
because the NFL hates
football.
us. Yes.
Yep.
You had to say that. Now I'm all pissed off again. Thanks, Billy.
Yeah, that will be Monday Night Football, guaranteed.
No, that's just depressing, and you're so correct. You're so right. I will say the Rams game is going to be fun only because like that building is going to be filled with Packers fans no matter when they where they put it on the schedule. There are going to be way more Packers fans there than Rams fans. It'll be like a Packers home game out west. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and that's one that I would like to be early as well, right? Because, I mean, you look at all the turnover they got.
Yeah.
Losing Robinson in the coaching department, Raheem Morris going to be the head coach in Atlanta.
Aaron Donald's retired.
Aaron Donald retiring. I'd like to catch them before they find the next Aaron Donald, if there ever is another on earth.
Right.
So I would like that to be, say, week 3 or 4. And I think that's a Sunday afternoon, but that's in that late window where
I think so.
Very well could Stafford against the Packers and the offensive firepower on there. McVay on the floor.
McVay drawing it up.
That could be the Tom Brady game on Fox.
Oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about Tom Brady calling NFL football games? Do you think that he's really going to end up doing it? I know all signs are pointing, but I mean, I still think there's a chance that he bows out at the last minute.
Well, here, let's get real close here on this secret.
Oh boy.
I think Brady plays before he broadcasts.
That's what I'm saying. I don't buy it, man. This year, you think?
I think he's going to play
this year. It's going to happen?
I think he's going to play this year.
Oh, man.
Now, and if you're Fox, you got to have a real conversation with him of saying, Tom, appreciate it. We got to know if this is a possibility now.
Right.
Because then we're going to do 3-man weave, you, Craig, and Kevin.
Yep.
Because then at one point we're doing a Dolphins game and Tua gets lost with God, I'm knock on wood, don't want it. His 19th concussion. Then you put Kevin Burkhardt in an awkward situation of, hey, Tom, the Dolphins call you this weekend.
Dolphins need a quarterback.
You were already on their boat getting first-round picks revoked from trying to go and be there with Sean Payton. What about Bo Nix? What if he sucks? And then all of a sudden they're right in the mix and they say, hey, Tom, Denver could be interesting. So
didn't he sign like a 10-year deal with Fox too? Like, isn't it like
10-year deal for $375 million?
And it hasn't even started yet. Like,
no, it is not yet. It's a great futures contract.
He signed it while he was still playing in the league. And it hasn't even, and he's been retired, and it's still hasn't even called a game yet.
And it also I know some people won't like this, but it does allow me to point out one of Aaron Rodgers' best jabs of all time.
What's that?
When they were lining up for the match, I think him and Brady were teammates.
Right, I remember.
And Brady was asked, why do you feel so compelled to do this? Goes on this really long, minute-long montage of feeling like you can give back to the game and that you can help bring up the next level of football fans. Kind of like John Madden educated so many people about football.
Sure, yeah.
And Aaron just very subtly goes, you ever paid so much to give back? I mean, hell, I'd like to volunteer for $375 million.
I mean, the gift that keeps on giving. So true. So true. I don't know why I got sidetracked on that, but it's just the Brady thing is hilarious to me.
Do you think he's going to be good at it if he does do it?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I will say anytime I've seen him on any kind of podcast appearance or like media availability thing, it's like I don't see it. I don't see him being engaging in a way that I'm going to enjoy listening to it. Now, that said, calling in a live NFL football game is its own creature, right? So it's very much not telling stories in the sense of like being on a podcast or whatever, or even doing an interview, right? There may be some kind of magic switch. The way he talks about football live as it's happening may be incredible, right? Don't forget when Tony Romo started, we all fell out of our chairs. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. I got to think with the game aspect of it and being able to analyze things quickly and know exactly what teams are trying to do and set it up, et cetera, and explain that to the viewers. I think there's a chance, he could be really good at that aspect of it, which would make him great, right? But I don't know, man. I just don't see it as far as the personality of the man. Like, he is born and bred to play football. I don't know that he's born and bred to communicate what he's seeing to a mass audience. It's a very tricky thing, and it's not as easy as the greats make it look.
What was Phil Simms like as a player? Like, soundbite wise, that's kind of interesting, right? Because I'll be honest.
Good comparison, actually.
Be honest with you, when I was younger, I thought Phil Simms was horrible. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm like, this is not entertaining. However, he did it for 15 years.
Very long time. Yeah.
I struggle to think Brady's going to stink at it, right? Like, with the amount that he's going to work at it,
I don't think he's going to stink. I just think it's got the potential is there for him just to be boring.
Yes.
Which is like the problem. Like, I understand he's not the reason you're there. You're not tuning in for Tom Brady, right? You're tuning in to watch the football game, which is fine. And I applaud anyone who can straddle the line of being able to add to the mix, right? Rather than make it about them.
It's tough. Yeah. Like, Greg Olsen makes you feel interested in watching the game because he's not trying to be the superstar of it.
Unless he is stealing Jordan Love's turkey leg. And then it becomes about him.
Very fair, right? And he's done it in a spot where he's not a cowboy and he wasn't a quarterback. That's a rarity to find.
Very rare thing.
Yep. I think Brady is going to have, and this is the unique part of it. What Romo had in the first 2 years was a ridiculous familiarity with the league.
Yes,
he had played against everybody.
He
had went up against all the offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators. So, like, he knew what they wanted to do. Tom took that 1 year off. That, granted, he was in the league for 2 decades, right?
But like, look how much it's changed in that 1 year.
It changes really quick.
Not only just like the personnel, like hell, quarterbacks alone, the musical chairs there, but just coaching staff wise. Yes. How many new head coaches are there? How many new coordinators are there? Systems switching, etc. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, Romo hit the ground running in that regard, whereas Tom, has he been keeping up with it? I do not doubt for a moment that he has been, but man, things can change real fast in the National Football League.
Yeah, and it will. And I think he won't necessarily lean upon just what he knows from his playing days. That's why And I'm not a Brady guy. I think he's going to be awesome. But, like, I just think it because of, one, I think Kevin Burkhardt's really, really good. And I think it's going to sound yeah, I do. I really like Burkhardt.
I think he's really milquetoast.
He doesn't have the big...
They should be doing so much better for their number one play-by-play guy. I understand.
It's like
they had to pivot because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman jumped. I totally get it. He was next up in the kind of the stable, right? But man, you're number one on Fox.
I'd love to know if they threw money at Kevin Harlan to see if he would have said yes.
Oh my God.
But he's such a CBS guy.
I know, but could you imagine?
Oh yeah.
You would dominate. You would dominate with Harlan at number one. Are you kidding me? We need to do a bracketology of like play-by-play and color commentators. Because Harlan would own that. He's so underrated, dude.
I know you were dialed in on every second of the NBA game last night. Did you see his moment with Jamal
Is that
Murray?
what I saw the replay of it this morning on Twitter. I got to be honest, I haven't watched maybe 20 seconds of a non-Bucks game this year.
Well, no, and that's honestly your call on me saying Draymond Green, guy who plays for the Warriors, scarred me. Like, I feel so bad about that. I'm tossing out here one moment.
I forgot about.
But my man Kevin Harlan,
I'm glad that scarred
locked eyes with Jamal Murray as deep
that.
as anybody, and it's
awesome.
Because he loves games.
He loves the game. Oh, did you see this? I love that we're on this tangent. By the way, did you see the headline? I think it was he did some interview where he said he worries about his fandom coming out too much.
It's awesome.
I'm like, no. This is what makes you so great. Mm-hmm. It's why people connect. It's your passion for what you're witnessing.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, my man. I know he's a big time carry the G, the radio, the podcast listener. Harlan, buddy, keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing.
And the thing is, that part of it, like, you are in the entertainment business.
Yes.
You are allowed to be entertained by the entertainment.
Correct.
While also entertaining us. That's where that's always been a point for me of, like, if you enjoy the game as much as it sounds like you are, then I'm going to be much more into it. One of the reasons why I'm not a big Jim Nantz guy, because it genuinely seems like Jim Nantz is worried more. Worried more about who he's going to give his tie out to after the game.
Totally agree.
And I want to.
And you can see those types where, yes, they're there in service of the game that they're broadcasting, but they've carved out a whole little part that's about them.
Yeah,
and I think that's what Harlan does such a good job on. Like, it's not about him. He is excited about it and conveying that, but it's not. The narrative isn't about him. That's why I think he's so great.
Damn, that was fun. We could do 4 hours on
we really could
all the broadcasts.
Out on broadcast. Maybe we'll do that. Well, in the deep, darkest
coming up, brother.
Reaches of the off season after the mini camp and everything, and they're gone on their summer break, we will have the definitive bracketology of play-by-play announcers and color commentators.
Good. It'll be right during NFL police blotter season.
The arrest meter has been reset.
That's really just when all these teams are just saying, please don't wake me up at 4 a.m. with a fucking call.
That's all. I don't want to have to put out the "we are aware of the incident and are gathering information" press release. We don't want to do that.
Yeah. Even though most teams have it on standby.
Got to have it ready.
Chiefs do,
hopefully,
for sure.
Hopefully, oh my gosh, don't even start. All right, that's a whole nother tangent. We're not going down that road. We're going to get out of here. Billy, I cannot tell you how much I love talking not only ball, but broadcast and everything with you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, brother. Jags in December. Got to get to Jacksonville when it's warm down there and cold up here.
See, now you're thinking. And that means that the Packers will probably open there in week 2.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yep, and it was one of the worst experiences of my life sitting there in the first week of September when they get absolutely baked.
My first gig, my first week on the beat, Packers opened in Jacksonville. I had to do a Facebook Live with Pete Doherty pregame, and I'm legit like just melting, trying to. I could not read the comments on the Facebook comment thing because my eyes would sweat in my eyes. True story. Good times.
Honestly, the beer was being sweat out of me so much faster than it went down when I was there for that Saints game. Luckily, it was too hot to even get drunk. You couldn't even drink yourself through that pain.
Evaporates. Yep, no doubt about it. Billy, thanks so much, man. I'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk next week, man.